Guys, welcome everyone. And I know we're going to have a big class today. So, like I said, we do ask you to stay muted just because we don't want to have any background noise or any echoes, and we can focus our attention on our amazing chef. If you have any questions along the way, please chat them in the chat box. You can also raise your hand if you have a question, and you can practice the little raising your hand and lowering it if you want, just so you can see how that works. Um, First, I would like to be able to introduce everyone, and we have Chef Alyssa on here, but let me oops, I guess I didn't do that slide, but I'm going to start right here. And Heather, I'm going to make you come off if you want. I'm going to come off and say hello as well. Hi, everyone. I don't know if Heather's
I'm
there as
talking on
well.
mute again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me
Hello, everybody.
too. Yeah. So, welcome. You guys are here, but I want to take a moment. I want to introduce Chef Alyssa first, as she is a personal chef with over 25 years' experience. She combines good flavors and good nutrition, and we are so excited to have her with us every month. We're really lucky. My name is Allison Welch. Again, I am a health education coordinator over on the Big Island of Hawaii. Nice to see you. And Heather Charles, she's over on the island of Maui. So between the three of us, we got three islands covered right there. And Heather does the same thing as I do over on Maui. And we're part of the lifestyle medicine team. So we're happy that you're here to join us tonight. And I know that you're probably here to learn a little bit about some vegetarian based cooking. So you may be asking yourself, well, what's so special about whole foods and plant based diet? And it's really, I will tell you this, also the only diet that really shows and prevents and reverses, I don't know, Heather, reverses chronic disease. It's amazing. Like
It's that powerful.
it's that powerful. Type 2 diabetes, coronary heart disease, artery disease.
Who
You
doesn't
heard me
want that,
right.
right?
It is a big deal. So, really, what is whole food plant based diet? And this is a diet. I'm going to just turn over just here so people can see it because it looks so pretty. It celebrates food in its most natural form, and it's the closest to the way it's grown. This includes fruits and vegetables and whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. And it really minimizes this idea of eating processed foods, refined sugars, white flours, and animal derived foods. So while changing your eating may seem daunting, this style of eating can be summed up in the words by I like to call him, I laugh because now I'm thinking tomato, tomato, but Michael Pollan, you call him Pollan, I call him
Yeah.
Pollan. He's an
Yeah.
American author, and he's a journalist who's been writing about food and health for years. And he coined this phrase, and I'll go back. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. Hang on. I'm getting my fingers warmed up. Right here, I want to have this tattooed on me. Eat foods, good whole foods, not too much, mostly plants. Most people know that vegetables are good for them, but sometimes we get a little afraid of how are we going to cook them? Are they a chore to make? What do I do besides a salad, right? They are delicious. And we really hope to shift your mindset and make you open up to the idea of eating in a new way and experiencing beautiful, healthy food. We want you to love the food that's going to love us back. So while we hope this class today plants a seed of curiosity in healthier cooking, we're also going to put a link in the chat to the video series. Do you mind doing that, Heather, for the Stanford School? I forgot to grab that. Do you mind grabbing that? So there's a great series, and oh, you're so good, Heather. That's on YouTube. It's called Food and Health, and it's by the Stanford School of Medicine. And if you have time and you get curious, I really recommend that you watch it. It ranges from 3 to 5 minute videos, and they give you lots of practical skills and information on how you can eat better. So, in your handouts for this class, you should have gotten this plant-based flyer. I want to just take a moment to touch briefly on the handouts that were included. Some of you may be familiar with that food pyramid that many of us grew up on. But in recent years, they've changed it to this beautiful, healthy plate. And the idea is it's divided into three different sections. Half of your plate is dedicated to beautiful vegetables, making them the star of the plate. But if you also notice that quote meat section is now one of your food groups, it's called protein. And that's the idea that you can get your protein in more than meat sources. So we've included plant-based proteins such as beans, lentils, and tofu. And these ingredients is what we're going to be focusing on in this class. So with that said, I kind of want to go right in because we want to give the time to our chef to talk about the recipes. just so you guys don't worry, and I'm showing this on the screen, in the email, the original one, right, Heather, not the one with the link.
Right. So not the reminder email, but when you
Yeah,
first registered and yep, it sends it out.
exactly. So look for that email, those links on the bottom are the ones to the recipes. So when Chef Alyssa is going to go over the recipe, don't worry, you have it. She's just going to talk about it a little bit. I know it's a little hard to read here. So I'm going to have Chef Alyssa, if you don't mind, just talk a little bit about what you're going to do and talk about the ingredients. Is that okay?
Of course.
Okay. So I have the edamame and the tomato corn one up first.
That's what I was planning. So perfect. We're in sync. Yeah. So this is a real simple recipe. And what we're going to do is we're going to start out with some cooked edamame and some fresh corn if you can get it. If not, you can use frozen corn. We have artichoke hearts, tomatoes, red bell peppers. We're just going to basically combine it all together in a bowl. We've got onions and cilantro and parsley, and then we're going to blend up a dressing with you can either use artichoke liquid from the jar, or you can use a combination of olive oil and water, which is generally that's what it is, as well as a little bit of vinegar. So we're going to blend that up, and then we're going to combine everything, and then you just let it sit overnight or chill down, and then that dressing will marinate all the vegetables, and it'll be just delicious for a potluck, a summer dish, main course. Just wonderful to have in your fridge to nosh on.
Fantastic. I love the foods that keep on giving. And just a reminder, you guys, if you're just joining in, please don't forget to mute your microphone so we don't have any background noise, and turn off your cameras when you get a chance. Chef, um, are you still on this one, or do you want me to move to the next one? Still, I'm sorry if
No, you're good.
Yep.
You can move on. Let me go get it.
Perfect. And again, you guys, don't forget you have the link to these recipes. So tonight's all about just enjoying watching and seeing how it's not that hard to make beautiful food. So I have your vegetable pasta up there, Chef.
Okay, well, this dish is so much fun. I mean, they both are. This one, you can it's so versatile. You can really just put your personality into how you want to make this. But I'm using tonight, I'm using it, as a template and just showing you what I did. But I start out with rotini pasta because I really like the way the rotini pasta catches all of the dressing, in those little spirals. Again, you can do whatever you desire, whatever you have in the house, if that's what it boils down to. I just noticed I got a lot of pasta in my house, so sometimes it's just good to use it what you got too. And then you're gonna add some vegetables, and I tend to like blanch or pre-cook some of the vegetables that might be a little crunchy, and it's all to personal taste. You can also add in some raw vegetables and just have a combination. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then I have a creamy dressing that we're going to make, like a creamy Italian dressing, and just combine it and again chill it down. And this is a great one too to be able to just tap into when you're hungry.
I love it. Like I said, the meals that keep on giving. So what I want to do, if it's okay, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to highlight um, your beautiful prep setup. And Heather,
Yeah.
can you see
Okay.
that in the center? And everyone, you
I
guys could thumbs
can.
up
I
if you can see
can.
her gorgeous setup. I highlighted it for everyone. If anyone has an issue, just let us know. But I'm going to let you start
Yeah.
cooking.
Yeah, and I think
Okay.
one of the beautiful things too with Alyssa's recipes is they can be adapted, to your own. So if you don't like green peppers or something, you can swap for something else. Or, I know we have a wide range of people attending today, whether you're fully plant-based already or maybe you're just starting. So you guys feel free to please ask the questions if you're thinking about a replacement or, something else. Oh, people are saying they can't see it, only see a big A. Interesting.
I am going to try, I'm going to stop spotlighting it and
Well,
start do it
maybe.
one more time.
Oh.
Okay, let me try. And then let me try again. I'm going to do it again. Okay, and let's
Yep.
see. If that shifts it back,
Can you guys see now?
and if for whatever reason, you guys, we're going to let Chef start, but if anything, you could always log out and log back in, and it might reset your screen. So that's another option. All yours, Alyssa.
Okay, all right. Well, you know, thinking.
Oh, they're still not seeing.
Still not seeing it? Okay. You want to just give it a couple minutes?
Well, okay, can other people just chat in? Can you see
There's quite a few people that are only seeing the A. An A.
Can you guys see, can most people, can you guys, if you see the screen, you can raise your hand or just say yes. A lot of people can see it. I would say if you can't see it, maybe try log in and log back in. See if that works. That would be my suggestion.
Thanks, Allison.
Going back in and out will do it. All right, go ahead, Chef. It's all yours.
All right. So thinking through this class and the recipes, I went ahead and did some of the pre-cooking. So I got a package of edamame, and it was really interesting because I have been, you know, I think we all are really watching prices and finding what stores to go to and sales and all of that. So I happened to be ordering online through Target, and they had edamame that's called mukimame. I've never seen that before, but I thought it was interesting. I just wanted to show you. Is that the right way, or should I twirl it the other way?
Well, it's upside down. You can turn it. Well, what does that
mean?
There
you go. Perfect.
Mukimame.
I know. It's
Is that a brand name?
It's edamame. Yeah, it says steam and bag mukimame. Isn't that interesting? So if you see mukimame, that is shelled soybeans. I thought shelled edamame. So I have no, I thought that was fascinating. So I went ahead and cooked that up. Now in the recipe, I have set a large pot of water to boil, add the beans, and cook about 8 minutes or till done. And I'm sorry, this screen keeps saying there's going to be a starting thing. And I'm just going to try and make it go away. I think that probably the best way, because you can get shelled edamame, or you can get edamame shells, depending upon how you find your package of soybeans. Probably follow the package instructions, because sometimes they're fully cooked. Now this one said it wasn't fully cooked, and so it needed to be fully cooked. So I would just kind of default to read the instructions on your edamame package that you buy, cook it according to the directions. But what I did today was I cooked the edamame for 8 minutes, and then I drained it. Now I personally don't like mine to be too crunchy, so I think that, you know, I tend to cook it a little longer. I also just watch the color, because I still like it to be a really pretty green color. So I've got that done, and then I went ahead and I went to the store looking for fresh corn, but there wasn't any today. So what I did was I bought a package of organic frozen corn, and then I cooked that according to the package directions and drained it. I have fresh red bell pepper and some tomatoes. And what I like to do for a recipe like this is to use Roma tomatoes. And the reason why, I mean, you can use any tomatoes you want, but the reason why I particularly like Roma tomatoes is they're really firm. So I picked out the ones that were nice and firm. This one's a little small, but I just kind of wanted to show, because in the recipe it says to seed the tomato, and I don't know if everyone knows exactly what that means. I would think it means to take out the seeds, but I just wanted to kind of show how I do it. And I generally just am trying to get the seeds out. Now, you know, I just kind of push out those little sacks of seeds like that. And then they don't have to all be gone. But what the seeds do is they just make everything a little watery. So if you take out the seeds, then your dressing, it won't like all pool at the bottom.
While you're doing that, Colette, I see your hand up. Did you have a question? And feel free, guys, to also put the questions into the chat.
Actually, I wonder how you can get rid of, so I can get a full picture. I've got the controls up and I've got all the initials down at the bottom of my screen.
Uh-huh.
Is there a way to get rid of it?
So I'll be quickly while she's cooking. So the thing is, it is hard to do that. If you take off the chat, it'll move the participants over, but you won't see the chat. You can't take the participants and the letters off. Hopefully, the biggest part of your screen is the food. But if you take away, if you click on the chat, it'll make it disappear and it'll make your screen bigger, but you won't see the chat. And just since we have an hour, we are going to just kind of keep Chef cooking. Let me know if that
Okay.
helps for you, okay, Colette, if that works.
Yep. Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
See. And then we did have a question about the seeds, and I'm not sure, Chef Alyssa, if you know the answer to this or not, but somebody was asking, is there any nutrition lost by discarding the seeds? Would that be a decision to not de-seed it because of any nutrition found inside the seed?
I have never heard anything to the contrary, but that's a very good question.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't know. Other than you could plant them. I don't even know if you could plant these little seeds in a tomato and grow them, but I guess that's how those little, how that happens out in the garden, right? The birds eating little cherry tomatoes. And then
That's true. Yeah.
So,
I have some tomatoes. They start growing all over the yard if they seed, right? And then they're, if I don't pick them in time. So I guess, sorry, Lana, we don't really know the answer to that one directly.
I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good question. Okay, so really, and then the bell pepper, it's pretty easy to chop. I know a lot of people, when I watch cut bell pepper, they tend to just cut like the top straight across. And I always think like, oh, you're going to lose a lot of that bell pepper. I grew up very frugal, like my grandmother. So I tend to cut it in half. And then I just cut around. If you use two knives, you could use a small knife and then just cut around the top cap. And then I usually cut the rib out a little bit, but that's just more of a visual thing. And then I take out the seeds. So that's just what I do when I'm cutting the red bell peppers. I tend to cut around that little green cap at the bottom, at the top. And of course, this can all be cut to the shape that you like. This is all subjective. It's just kind of fun to see the different ideas of what you can add and the colors. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my soybeans into my mixing bowl. And then I'm going to add in my chopped tomatoes. And I'm going to add in my corn. This makes a good amount.
It's so pretty, all those colors. Fantastic.
And then I had some artichokes. So, you can buy artichokes in a can, or you can buy them marinated in a glass jar. I'm sure you probably see that often. And I kind of decide whether I'm going to use the marinade liquid or not based on the quality of the oil. And this one, actually, I did do a Target order. So this one didn't have a lot of oil in it. It was real watery. So I decided I was just going to drain and chop my artichokes, and then I'm going to use some olive oil and some water instead. So I've got that, and then I have my red bell pepper that I chopped and prepped ahead of time. And I have some nice red onion. Now, if you don't like, and I know we've talked about this before, but if you don't like the bite of raw onion, you can chop it and then put it in a fine mesh strainer and run a little water over it. And then I'll take that bite out of the red onion or white onion. So we have a little bit of cilantro. So I've got the cilantro chopped. And then we're going to make the dressing. So you can see this does make a good amount. Perfect for a potluck. summer dinner. Lots of colors. Uh-oh. Oh, well. Spilled over my bowl. Uh-oh. I needed a bigger bowl. All right, so I've just got this mixed up, and then I'm going to show you how I make the dressing. And then we're going to toss that in and let it sit. Okay, so I'll put this over here. I've missed all of my little uh-ohs. And so what we're going to do with the dressing, and I want to show you some variables on this, is the dressing calls for silken tofu. So I want to show you what the silken tofu looks like. So you can use, if you know, you can use this mori. It's called, you can get it fresh silken. You can get this one in the little aseptic box. And then it comes in different firmnesses. Firm? I think that's not proper English. It can come in firm, extra firm, soft. And so you can choose how you know, they have different labels on it. So this one's called silken nigari, which is, nigari is the ingredient it's used to bind it. So if you, for some reason, I had this in my cupboard and I looked at it and it says best used by April of 2023. And so I'm like, okay, well, I guess we're not gonna, probably not use that today, but I wanted you to have, just see a sample of what the box looks like. You can, usually it's in the, even though it doesn't need to be refrigerated, usually it's sold where fresh tofu is sold in the grocery store. So I would start looking for it there if you are gonna buy it. The other option would be just using fresh tofu, which I've done. I've got fresh tofu that I've just chopped kind of fine because I'm gonna blend it. And I'm just not sure how the whole blending process is gonna go. So I'm trying to help it along by chopping up my tofu. So that's gonna be the base of this dressing to make it creamy. So I think I'm going to start. Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to add, you know, as she's about to do that, just kind of think of silken tofu as sort of the softest, creamy version, right? Is that a good way of putting it versus, because sometimes you can use other tofus, but think of silken as giving you that nice texture. Is that fair to say?
Yes, it gives you the nice texture. And, you know, that's one of the silken tofu you can also use to make, like, you know, the chocolate puddings, the desserts. You can make a creamy basil salad dressing. So that's where you can use like it in other forms. So I'm going to put the tofu in here in my blender. And I have one of these Cuisinart, like kind of a small blender. And then I have a combination of rice vinegar. I just kind of wanted to show you rice vinegar. This one actually is Eden organic, but you know, you often see it, is it Mitsu?
Upside down.
Yeah,
You could turn it the other
back
way.
the original.
Yeah,
way.
because
There you go.
yeah, there you go.
All right. But I figure, you know, most people tend to have rice vinegar in their house. If you don't have rice vinegar, you could use a little lemon. You could use apple cider vinegar, something like that. We're also going to put in, I have the rice vinegar, I have some Dijon style mustard, and then I have the olive oil and the water, which is the substitute for the liquid in the artichoke jar. I'm going to put that in with the tofu. And I'm going to add some salt and pepper. And then, fingers crossed, this is going to blend really nice. So it might be a little noisy, bear with me. Okay. A little noisy, right? Should I take it in the other room? Just keep going.
Nah,
fast.
keep going, keep going. It
Okay.
makes it feel like we're there. And we might have you have when you're set kind of angle it up just because the camera angle's sort of in a,
Yeah, it's in an
we're
odd,
looking, yeah.
yeah.
So just to make sure you
I'm
kind of
just
have it
going
up near the,
to
yep,
just add
perfect.
a little bit of liquid. Put it along. Oh, did. There we go. So now it's nice and creamy. And I'm going to use my spatula here. Put it in and then mix it up.
And I'm sure you'll bring that over to the center so we can see it.
Ah, very good.
That would, yeah, since right now what we see is the top of your,
appreciate that.
there we go,
Chopping
perfect.
board.
There we go, beautiful. Maybe up towards, no, just headed up towards the empty plate. Just scooch it, there you go, right there.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate that. I'm looking down.
We want you to focus on the food.
Focus on not making a mess.
And we did have a question to come in. Can you make the dressing ahead of time or double the recipe so that it lasts a couple of days?
Yes, you
Good
can.
thinking ahead.
Good questions. You can see this.
And it does make a lot of food. Look at that. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's just a lot. It's great for a salad. I mean, potluck. I could see too if you've got a nice ripe avocado, you could just cut that up and put it in right before you serve it. That would be nice too. And then I have a little bit of, you can do parsley. Toss that in, some bright color. And then you can just adjust it for this, to taste for the salt and pepper. And the flavors will all meld, that mustard and the vinegar all absorb in.
And all those great textures. That's the
Oh,
nice thing. You've got so many great textures in there. We did have that question, how many days can this keep? And I know Heather answered it, but I thought maybe we could put that out to you, Chef. I don't think it'll last that long because it looks so delicious.
Yeah, I said maybe 3 to 4 days. Yeah.
What? Yeah.
I would think that's right. Sorry, I keep getting this little software distribution thing popping up and I can't get it to go away. But
Well, we can see you. We don't see that at all. And I don't think it'll get in your way. Yep.
All right. Yes, that's right. Okay. Okay. Very good. So does anyone have any questions other than, wow, this looks messy.
No, I'm
You can
excited
tell
to
you're a
try
chef.
this one. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I never did use tofu as a dressing, like for creaminess, right? What a brilliant concept.
A little bit of extra.
Yeah, I don't have to have the mayo and all of that that's in traditional, some of these traditional salads, right?
Yeah.
Can
Maybe
have
bring
the tofu. Mhm.
the bowl a little towards your blender. That way. There you go. And then up a little, and then it'll be right in the center. Not up that way, up towards the front top of your table. There you go. You see where looks great.
Like that?
Yeah, but when you put it back on the table, you can just put it kind of up a little bit higher towards the soy sauce or whatever the bottle, just upward.
Okay.
More in the set, it'll be more centered.
There.
Don't I feel like the producer here? There we go.
Oh, right?
I'm just your eyes out here in the virtual world.
Yeah, people are saying this looks yummy. They can see themselves
Delicious.
making this, like you said, especially on hot days like this. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You come home to have this nice cold crunchy salad.
Yeah.
I had the same
Delicious.
idea as Lyndon. As soon as you lifted it up, I'm like, ooh, mushrooms in there could be good too.
Yeah,
It's so
I know.
funny.
What's
Yeah.
so fun is you can really just make it how you like it, right? Add in some different things. Have your favorite vegetables and flavors, but it's a good just kind of give you oops, sorry.
No, I think it's great. I think what's nice about this is, especially to bring these things to like a potluck, is sometimes people think they don't want to try something or tofu or do something a little different or vegetables. And then, a lot of times you try something at a potluck and you're like, wow, that's delicious. So I think, the more we can share with other people and more we make beautiful food like this, the better we're all going to be.
Thank you for the feedback. So we've got some food there to share.
Okay, if you guys don't have questions, remember you have the recipe, and we're going to do the next recipe as well. But boy, you're making me hungry. I definitely want to try this one.
Oh, thank you. So are we
Yeah,
good?
me too. Looks refreshing.
Yes, you can absolutely move on. Look at, and this is the one thing that I like that Chef is doing, and you always see chefs taking that extra moment, clearing your space. It doesn't take long. Give yourself that canvas of, okay, let me try something else. And you don't get overwhelmed, because sometimes we can get overwhelmed if so much is going on and then we just sort of give up in trying. So I'm sure a lot of people here cook, but for me, I know if I don't have that space sort of ready for the next one, it's a little hard. So great to show that.
Okay, so this one is chickpea. Oh, excuse me, pasta salad, but I often use chickpea pasta. Wanted to talk about that. Sorry, just wanted to get, I've got 2 trays going here.
All good. We can see all the beautiful color and the noodles and the ingredients all lining up.
Right, and we're sitting there feeling like we're right at your table. That's the best part of cooking.
If only we were, right?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
He's going to talk about that right now. Just ask what you were saying about the chickpea. So
yeah, so I personally try, I do better without a lot of wheat in my world. I get arthritic. Yeah, it's interesting. We all have our bodies work different ways, but I've been learning more about chickpea and red lentil pastas and other lentil pastas. But this is what I use today. So the Bonza rotini, this has 20 grams of protein plus 8 grams of fiber. So it's nice and filling in the sense that you're getting the fiber plus some protein. So I was also learned, it's interesting, I was talking to my girlfriend about this, and she said you can, if you happen to be a Costco member, that they sell this in an 8-pack at Costco. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm going to check that
Yeah.
out.
I know we'll have to keep our eyes open for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have the Bonza rotini. I mean, because I cook for other people as well, I cook all kinds of pasta. And I cook it to whatever they like, whether it's a whole grain pasta or whether they like more traditional, just wheats. I really like, there's one that's like orange and green and white. If I'm going to have to do the traditional, I kind of like the ones that are different colors. I also like this brand called Tinkyada. I don't know if you've seen that before. The Tinkyada is a brown rice pasta. So this one cooks up very nice. So I wanted to show you, I actually cooked up the 2. So this is, maybe I can show you the spoon. I do find if you use the Bonza, that to start cooking it at the, it says 7 to 9 minutes. I find that 7 minutes is enough before it starts breaking down. And again, you can use any kind of pasta, but I love the shape of rotini to catch all of the dressing and the flavors. That's just a personal favorite. You can just do whatever you desire. This one is the rice noodle, so you can see it holds its shape quite well. And what's fun about this brand is they have this easy and energy saving cooking tip on it. So you just put in the dry pasta into the boiling water. You cook it for 2 minutes. and then you turn off the heat and you cover it and you time it for like 14 minutes, and then you drain it, and then you've got your cooked pasta. So you don't have to use the stove for the full time. So I thought that it always works really well when I do
Interesting.
that.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that or tried that before. Save on the electric bill.
Yeah, exactly. And you use that residual heat. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, because, when I was working with John about the typing up the recipe, what I tend to do is I like to use, like cook a little bit of broccoli and some carrots. So what I tend to do is I will either cook it like at the end of the pasta cooking time. Sometimes that gets a little dicey because, your timing might be a little off and your broccoli can still be crunchy and then the pasta gets overcooked. But I try and time it together, or just, I think about the water, and sometimes I'll cook the broccoli, and like this, I have broccoli and carrots. So sometimes I will cook the broccoli and carrots and then add in, I use this. I don't know, it's just a lot of local houses, they have this called a spider, right? I think it's called a spider. And this is great to just take the vegetables out of the water, and then you can pour the pasta into the water after. So just some ideas of kind of like doing things at the same time. I also will do a quick blanch of spinach. I actually have spinach and little kale here. You can do bok choy, you can do, just some greens. And then I will, I personally really like black olives. So I have black olives, you could do Kalamata olives, you could do green olives, they all work well here. A little bit of cherry tomatoes, you could do it all raw if you want. You don't have to have any, you could do, raw broccoli. Cherry tomatoes are really nice in here. So I have some sun-dried tomatoes. And so just for a little bit of that, the kind of acidic punch, I like to slice up sun-dried tomatoes into my pasta. And then I have a little bit of raw onion. Again, you can drain that. So I just wanted to show you all the variables that you can put into your pasta.
And if you're blanching it, it's just like a minute or two, right?
And okay, so that's why I was also thinking blanch really is, right? Just a dip.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're and it's more like blanching your spinach or your kale or those leafy greens that are really tender, you're just going to want to dip it in the hot water, and when it starts just going all limp, then you pull it out, right? With the broccoli and carrot, I try and it's more of a I don't know if it's still called blanching, because I tend to cut my broccoli so that this will cook in about 3 minutes. They're just about an inch. I try and have my carrots relatively thin so they'll cook real quick too. So whether that's a blanch or a quick cook.
Yeah, but they shouldn't be in there for more than a couple of minutes in general, regardless. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So not overcooked.
I want to ask another quick question. Do you stick your broccoli or carrots afterward in ice water right after you take them out, or doesn't really matter? Just thought I'd ask. I've heard that a lot.
Don't. I have read that in cookbooks. I've heard it at culinary school, when I've done some work at KCC. Unless I really think that it's going to keep cooking fast, sometimes I pop it if I think I've overdone it, and I don't want it to keep going. I'll put it in the freezer. I'll put the whole bowl in the freezer. But I haven't really gone to the energy of making an ice bath. But I have heard about that a lot. Do you do it?
Oh, it's more I hear to keep the color a little green, but also to stop the cooking. But I just thought I'd ask you. It doesn't have to be done, but I wanted to ask a chef.
Yeah. No, I just haven't taken that extra step, but I have read about that when making like pesto. If you could do a quick blanch of basil and then ice bath, and then so it'll keep the color, which I think is fascinating, but I just haven't gone there.
Well, we're all about keeping it simple, so you keep going. I just thought I'd ask.
No, good question. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to go ahead and get my spoon. Because I have the two different pastas, I think I'm just going to do half this demo. And then I'll add the rest. I'm not quite sure how they're going to chill down. So I'm going to just do this. I've got my greens. Then I'll do the other bowl. I've got my onions. I've got my olives. And you can see here where this can be really fun, that you can do so many different things, right? You can do the bell peppers if you want. I'm going to bring my sun-dried tomatoes over, and I tend to like to use these little shears. You can get shears for, they don't have to be very expensive. I think these cost $3, but they're great just for fresh herbs. Well,
And you're chopping or cutting the sun-dried tomato right now. That's what you're doing?
Yeah. Now these sun-dried tomatoes were in olive oil. So that's why I'm trying not to make a mess. Onto this tablecloth. It's always my goal. And wipe my hands. Okay, we're done. So that was, I just wanted to show you a technique I use. To me, I think that's as easy as cutting it on a board. I also wanted to show about how I like to cut my garlic. If you don't want big chunks of garlic, I just cut the ends off. My hands still feel a little oily, so I'm trying to be mindful of not hurting myself. And you can see. So what I tend to do is I tend to hit it on the side. You can also use like a glass measuring cup. And I get the peels off. And then one of my favorite tools, especially if I don't want big chunks of garlic, but that's just also a personal preference. You can put the garlic, even with the skin on for this one. I just find it presses easier without. And this goes actually into the dressing, so I'm gonna move it over here. I have the dressing ingredients. So you see how it mushes, it mushes out. Let's see, it presses out through the holes, the pukas, yeah. And then what I tend to do is I use the knife backwards to scrape it off so that you aren't dulling the knife. I'll scrape it off into here, and then I'll talk a little bit more about the dressing. But that's just one way that you can get a really fine bit of fresh garlic in there. I also tend to like fresh garlic over those jarred kind that are already kind of processed for you. I think that I personally think you lose a lot of flavor in that, but this could be just me. So what I have here is I have olive oil, I have veganese, apple cider vinegar, mustard, I have a little Italian seasoning, about a teaspoon, and then I really like a little kick of chili flakes, you know, the kind that comes with pizza. So I put a little bit of that with salt and pepper. Now, if you didn't have the chickpea pasta, you could add chickpeas into this, and that would be really nice too. I don't know if adding chickpeas to a pasta that is chickpea based, if that would be a bit of overkill.
You're right. I usually do the same. If it has chickpeas in it, I omit it. If I use the chickpea pasta to not double up, a little too much fiber.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can see, you know, this was fun because I haven't made this in a while, and so I did a test run this week, and I tell you, I so enjoyed eating this for a couple of days, you know, because as it sits in the fridge, you know, again, it absorbs all the flavors from the acid. And I don't know, was it Allison or Dr. John or Heather had said, but that you haven't had any issues with the chickpea pasta getting hard, right? As it sits in the fridge.
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah, and so I just wanted to try this brand because I hadn't tried it and done this. So I was doing that. And you're right. I mean, I was enjoying this for a couple of nights. I'd come home from, you know, my mom's and oh, this is good. So that's kind of why I'm doing the half-half, because this is a rice pasta. And I'm not sure if this one might need to be heated.
We do have a great question while you're kind of thinking about that. Would it be okay to leave this out with that vegan mayonnaise? You know, because
Yes.
for a potluck, it's okay to leave out.
Right, because there's no
Great.
eggs in it.
Fantastic.
And the brand is actually, do you want me to show the brands? I can go get them real quick.
That would be terrific. And oh, go ahead, Heather.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think part of that question too is if you leave out the mayonnaise from the recipe.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I thought it meant if you leave out the whole thing of the
That's also
potluck.
a good question, Allison. A lot of times
Eric,
they're
I
sitting
totally
on.
read it wrong. That
So
is a good
either way,
point.
Eric, we'll try to get the question answered whichever way
Yeah,
you
because,
meant
you know,
it.
some people aren't mayonnaise people, you know, and that's
Yeah,
just
sorry. Good.
not,
Sorry, Eric.
yeah. I mean, we have in my family, we've got people who aren't mayonnaise people. So when we have a family gathering, we do not have mayonnaise in things, maybe on the side. But yeah, I personally grew up with mayonnaise and I enjoy it. But yes, you can leave it out. Just do the apple cider. You could do balsamic. You know, balsamic would just make it look a little darker. Heather, Allison, I'm sorry, which one? You sent a really nice recipe that was more Greek inspired. Where did it have
that one had
balsamic?
veganase in it though. It
Ah,
did.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me quickly show you what the two looks like.
And actually, as I read that question wrong, I think it is a good important point that if you are using regular mayonnaise in something and you are taking it somewhere, it is the egg you are thinking about. So if you're not using a veganase one, to think about that. So
yeah. So this is kind of interesting because someone gifted me this one. It's a Best Foods has a vegan dressing and spread. And then I tend to use Follow Your Heart, and I like the avocado oil veganase. There's all different ones. There's ones made with canola oil, grapeseed oil, safflower oil. So you have choices in Follow Your Heart, and they tend to have different colored caps. But so I use the veganase with the avocado oil. But again, yes, you can definitely leave it out. What's also nice, some other ideas is you could add some capers in here. You could snip some fresh basil. That would be delightful because you've got the Italian seasoning. You could use the Kalamata olives. Yeah, there's a lot of fun things you can do with this recipe.
fantastic. We have we're getting close to the 10-minute mark. I don't know if you were going to make another or if that was our.
Well, it was basically, I just was keeping that. I didn't realize that this wasn't going to make 4 cups. My box. So I'm like, okay, well then I'm going to do rice too. So it would just be the exact same thing. So I'll go ahead.
Yeah, why not? Show us. You got all those vegetables. You're going to be eating pasta salad, rice salad, and that delicious salad for days unless you invite us over to your island.
Well, I tell you, you are most welcome. You know where to find me.
So this one is the brown rice pasta, right?
This is brown rice pasta.
Okay.
And I like the way this one holds up. The shape, it really holds up really well. The the Bonza was starting to break down, but it's still okay. Get my spoon back. Where are you?
Can you share the brand of rice pasta you were using?
It is called Tinkyata, and they have organic rice pasta. They have non-organic. They have brown rice. They have white rice. They have spaghetti. They have linguine. They have penne. They have macaroni noodles. Yeah, it's a really fun brand.
Could you spell that and we can put it in the chat?
Tinkyada, and they have it at most of the health markets, but they also sell this at Times. I don't think I've seen it at like Foodland or Safeway, but it might be. I think it might be like at Don Quixote. I'm trying to think what markets. You can order it online too. But yeah, this is a nice one.
I can honestly say I've never tried a rice pasta. It's something new. And then we got a little, look at that. We got a little suggestion of how great your tofu dressing might be with this.
Yes,
Instead,
very good point. Yeah. And you could just change out the herbs, right? You could add the Italian seasoning into that one. You could do dried basil. Yeah.
Creativity. Don't be scared to try.
Fun. Yes, yes, yes. So I have found, I always go back and forth with buying basil, right? Because I'll buy basil, you spend $3.99, and then you don't use it up. Then it goes bad in the fridge, and I always get upset, like, I just wasted money. So now I've been trying I'm looking at I got a little basil plant over in the corner. Costs $1.99. And you can take a little leaf off here and there and just put it in a dish, right? And to me, that seems to be working better than spending $3.99 on a bunch of basil and you don't use it up in time. So there's, ways to think about using fresh herbs, or if you have, I don't have a yard, but yeah, if you have a yard and you are good with plants, right? Then having herbs outside is so wonderful because it makes such a difference to just add a little fresh cilantro or green onions or basil. What a difference. It's great. Mint, it just pops the flavors. If you have
Fantastic. Yeah. Great. So we're kind of coming down to the end of our time. Maybe I'll have you put the other salad back as well before I go back to our PowerPoint so we can show all, and then even the first one as you're doing it. That'd be great. I will add another tip as you're getting them. Here on the Big Island, sometimes, at least up in the center, it's hard to find the thyme or dill. And I've gone to Ace and gotten a live plant, and it costs less, and I cut it, and now I have it in my yard and I'm growing it. So if in doubt, don't forget to go look. Sometimes you can find those herbs somewhere else.
Places.
That's
and
right.
It keeps us from adding too much salt too, right? For flavoring. I'm always surprised, like lemon juice or some of that acidity kind of brightens things up, and then you add a little pinch of a herb. Dill, I've been really enjoying dill on most things. So yeah, it's
those
fun to play around.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Look at that, all the textures, the colors.
Color.
I'm going to, just so that we'll keep that up, but I'm just going to put this back up here, Heather, just so we can end our class strong. We really hope that you guys are going to get excited, try these recipes.
Make the recipes this week.
Make them. We're here to support you. Culinary medicine, this is food, good lifestyle, how you're eating, how you're moving, how you're thinking. If you want some support, you can always call us at the Lifestyle Medicine Department. Heather, do you mind putting that in the chat, that phone number for everyone? We have classes like this great class every month, the fourth Monday of the month with Chef Alyssa. Thank you for always inspiring us to try some more plant-based foods. We are here to support you. I think our next class, did you put it in? I forget, when is the date of that one?
It should be in the...
I don't
go about the other way.
Oh, I know. I didn't do that. Maybe I'm not touching that. Or okay, there we go. Huh.
Back.
Yeah. I wasn't moving it. I don't know what happened.
Oh.
Okay. Well, let me go back. All right. No, those are
one before that.
Okay. No. There we go. Our next class, August 28th, is healthy snacks. And if you you can call that number to join in again. But we really don't be scared to try. Alyssa, you have really gotten me to feel like a chef in the kitchen. I'm not always the most confident in trying different vegetables, and I'm always excited to try the new ones. So we appreciate everyone being here. We'll stay on the line if you guys have questions for the chef. This is your time to ask. So if you guys, or did I forget anything, Heather? If there's anything you want to add or any questions you have, we want you to ask now. And you can feel free to unmute or raise your hand. Otherwise, good cooking.
There was one
Happy
question
cooking.
here about, can you use a firm tofu and blend it for the dressing?
Yes, that's actually what I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So yes.
So, you know, silken tofu does come in different types, but if you don't have the silken, you can use a regular one, just blend it more. Could you do that?
I did. I actually, I'm going to taste it and see if it makes any difference in flavor. Because silken tofu tends to be very, I think out of all of them, it's the most open to changing its flavor, right? It's a really blank palette.
Very creamy. Great
Let's
question.
see. And I know Linda was asking about the dressing and keeping it ahead for how long. Is it still like about 3 to 4 days for all the salads? This probably.
I would say yes.
Yeah, that's about the time they're going to allow, or the vegetables kind of start to break down a little bit. Yeah.
No, it's delicious just with regular tofu.
Fantastic. We had a question about blanching the veggies in salted water. Do you salt your water or not?
I salted it for the pasta, but I didn't salt it for the veggies. But I've done it. That's kind of what I was talking about. Is I've done it all different ways. So if I can save that same water, depending upon the order, either I do the blanching, the spinach. Like for today, it'd be the spinach first, and then the carrots and the broccoli, and then put the pasta in. Then it is salted. So it depends on, if I'm trying to combine it all together or if I'm just doing separate. So I do it both ways. I'm sorry, that's a long-winded answer. Both ways.
And then Allison, can you show the recipes again? Yeah,
okay.
Diane was just,
like
and Diane, just
is.
so you know, the links are also in the class registration email, and you'll have a link to the handouts.
And if you want to take a screenshot of that, you can, and then I can change it to the other one. I don't know how to make it bigger. Yeah. But if you do it, maybe you can make it, if you do it on your phone, you can make it bigger, and then I can do the other one if you want to. Give it like another minute. And then this is the other recipe. This is that first beautiful one with the corn, and then the other two are the pastas. Yep.
Oh, did we answer the question? Did you answer that one already about the salted water?
Yeah.
Okay.
In a long-winded, windy way.
Okay. I was just scrolling up here, making sure we got everybody's questions answered. If you have any more.
Oh, that just looks so good. I just feel like now if my plate doesn't have color, it just doesn't feel complete anymore. I'm really changed over. And, now you're making it beautiful. Our new protein doesn't have to be meat.
Yeah. Can you sprinkle nutritional yeast on it? Is the question.
Yeah, that'd be delicious.
That'd probably be good.
On the pasta salad, that might be good.
I like putting nutritional yeast on most things nowadays.
Oh, I want to show you this. It's like yeast. It's really interesting product. I don't try to remember where I got it, but it's called miso nooch.
Here, let me see if I can.
And it's an umami seasoning, but it looks like nutritional yeast. It's actually dried miso. And if you sprinkle it on your food.
Miso mooch.
Miso mooch. Nooch. I don't know if I got it at Down to Earth. Oh, well, let's see.
I love miso.
Or Whole Foods, but yeah, it's such a nice flavor.
I bet. That's great to know. There's so many great products out there now. It's fantastic. Thanks. Ah, your birds are saying it's time.
Yeah.
Class is
time.
done. So, all right, you guys. I appreciate everyone being here. Again, Chef Alyssa, thank you for your knowledge, your time, and your beautiful cooking. And Heather, thanks for answering all those questions. And Eric, I'm sorry I read your question wrong, but it was good. It's always good fun. So I hope you guys all have a great night. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye. Take care. Have a great night. Happy cooking.